You might have heard of NiSi filters, but have you heard NiSi lenses? This NiSi 9mm f2.8 lens has something that I think no other third-party lens makers have done. Hi, it's Peter here, and let's get right into the business. And a disclaimer, this lens was sent to me from NiSi and I get to keep the lens. They don't tell me what to say on this video, so everything I say are my own opinions based on using the lens for a few weeks. But let's get started. Let's start with some images that I've made with the lens. Specifications. Before I talk about the look and feel and other things like image quality about this lens, let's talk about the specifications first. This is an APS-C lens with MFT mount, so it's a lens for micro four thirds. The angle of view is 100 degrees, so it's about roughly the same as 8 to 25mm f4 and 7 to 14mm f2.8 Pro lenses from Zuiko. Panasonic has a 9mm lens also, and that is also 100 degrees. But I haven't tested that, which is a pity because it would have been really great to test this NiSi lens against that lens. NiSi 9mm f2.8 lens has 14 elements in 12 groups and 2 double-side aspherical elements and 4 extra low dispersion elements. The closest focusing distance is 20 centimeters, so you can get really nice images if you place the camera really close to a subject and then have the 9mm wide angle view. It makes some interesting close-up images, and it can give you some extra information and extra story to your image if you are making close-up images. It's not just the subject, but you can show the surroundings too. It's a fully manual lens and there are no electronic contacts. Like Jimmy Cheng would say, it's a naked lens. And if you need the camera to record metadata for the lens, you need to add it to your lens info. The whole name of the lens is, and now I have to read, NiSi 9mm f2.8 10 straight blade Sunstar super wide angle lens for APS-C. That's a mouthful. Probably the longest lens name that I've heard. Or have you heard any lens that has a longer name? But there's one word that is of course interesting. Sunstar. That's what they said. It's a very good lens for Sunstars. And I will talk about that a bit later. And there is also one feature that is not so common in third-party lenses. Not especially with these new lens makers. But it's a really good addition to the feature set of the lens. Look and feel. The lens looks and feels really premium. Someone has said that it feels like Zeiss Loxia lenses. And yeah, there is some resemblance to that lens set from Zeiss. The focusing ring is nice and wide. It's quite stiff. The aperture ring is clickless, which is not my preference for a photo lens. But of course, for videography, it's a good thing. It also has a depth of field scale on the lens. As I said, the lens feels really good and really premium. Then what about image quality? If you have a really super wide angle lens, you will have some distortions and some other problems in the edges, like vignetting for example. NiSi 9mm f2.8 lens is no exception. But to be honest, it's not that bad. If you look at the distortion here, it's only +4 distortion correction in Lightroom, and it doesn't matter what the aperture is, it's the same with f2.8 and f16, which I think is quite good. And then let's look at my Pink Floyd test. Yes, it is a Pink Floyd test because I just took a picture of another brick on the wall. Sorry, not a good joke, but let's continue. Yes, the brick wall test. And here you can see the sharpness is quite good in the center. No problems like expected. But then when we look at the corner sharpness in full open, you can clearly see that this f5.6 is slightly better. But after this, it starts to show some diffraction, so I would use this lens if I want the best image quality, f4, f5.6, which is no surprise. It's usually the case with every lens, with few exceptions. But I've shot some images with full open and didn't see really big problems, because we always have to remember that brick wall tests are just lab tests that show the absolute sharpness. But when we're out there shooting, corner sharpness is the one of the least important things that we need to think when we're photographing. But I did this because I haven't seen this done with this lens in other videos. I don't even know if there are any other content about this lens. But as you see, it gets better when you stop down, but then don't stop too much because diffraction will start ruining the corner sharpness. And vignetting isn't either that bad, and we can correct the vignetting if we need to, but usually we need some vignetting, or not need, but we want to have some vignetting so that we can concentrate the viewer's attention to the middle of the frame. So adding some vignetting to an image usually makes the subject pop. There is some fringing, but that is also very easy to remove in Lightroom. It's not very bad, so the lens is quite good. Before I talk about the special feature, let's look how the Sunstar claim that NiSi has made. Is there a star behind the claim? As they claimed, there is a Sunstar, and it is throughout the whole aperture range. So f2.8 you can get a star, and then of course if you stop down you will get a star too. And that's a really interesting thing, and that is something that this lens could be used for if you need those Sunstars. But of course, if you don't need wide angle lens, and I don't think you should get this lens just because of the stars. But if that's something that you need and prefer and like, then why not? And then the special feature. Yes, this lens is weather sealed. It has this sealing on its mount, this orange ring around the mount, and it will seal the lens right nicely to the body. So if you have a weather sealed body, this will keep the weather sealed body weather sealed, because if you don't have this, it will be in danger if there is some rain. Really nice and good addition, because Micro Four Thirds, especially Olympus cameras, are really good in weather sealing, and this will kind of protect your body. The price. The price of this lens is $459. It's not a bad price for a lens like this. I think it's quite reasonably priced, because it is a good value for money if you are in a market for super wide angle. But of course, it is a manual focus lens. So if you need autofocus, then this might not be the lens for you. But if manual focus is fine with you, or you're used to it, then no problem. It's a good lens. I couldn't find any place where this lens is sold except NiSi's own Webstore, so I will put a link in the description. It's not an affiliate link, so I don't get any cut. But if you need the lens, just use that lens and get it. As I have said many times, I really like that there are these new players in the ballpark that make lenses. It makes us photographers happy, because then we have more options, and more options in different prices too. Especially happy with NiSi that this is a totally new lens maker that has started making lenses. They do have a 15mm lens too, which I have not tested. I've only tested this one. This particular lens is 9mm and very wide, like you've seen. And it's not a lens for general use. I wouldn't use this as a general lens unless you really are familiar with really wide angle lenses. But for special things, like I said, Sunstars and some architectural photographs, maybe indoor photographs for real estate or something like that, this could be an option for Micro Four Thirds users. So keep an eye on this lens if you are interested in 9mm or need one. I think it's a good option for really wide angle lenses. And here are some more videos about third-party lenses that I've tested. You might want to check those if you're interested in those, because, you know, they might have some good lenses for a reasonable price. But hey, thanks for watching, and bye for now.